Assalamualaikum, hello and very good morning to all of you. My name is Shafira Alia Binti Syamimi, your moderator for today. Welcome to our forum organized by College University Politek Marah Kuala Lumpur. We are blessed to be together here to witness a forum, a hot and trendy issue entitled Early Marriage Among Youth. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for being here today. Our honorable panels, esteemed girls, ladies and gentlemen. Our topic for today will be discussed by well-known experts. Before the forum begin, I would like to introduce you to our dedicated panels. For our first panelist, we have Dr. Nurin Karmila Binti Hafidzan, a lecturer from Faculty of Humanities and Social Science at University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Good morning, Dr. Nurin.
Good morning, Ms. Shafira.
For our second panelist, we have Ms. Nurul Raihana Binti Roszanihar. She is counselor from Pantai Hospital Kuala Lumpur. Good morning, Ms. Raihana.
Good morning to our moderator too, Ms. Shafira.
Next, our third panelist, Madam Zulaika Binti Jamaluddin. She's a housewife that got married at an early age. Good morning, Madam Zulaika.
Good morning, Ms. Shafira.
Next, for the fourth panelist, we have Ms. Nurin Nabilah Syamimi Binti Khairolnizam. She is Sharia lawyer from the Department of Sharia Judiciary of Malaysia. Good morning, Ms. Nabilah.
Good morning, Ms. Shafira.
And the fifth panel, we have Dr. Wan Nor Aisyah bin Wan Abd Aziz, who is executive of Women Organization. Good morning, Ms. Aisyah.
Good morning, Ms. Shafira.
And the last one, we have Ms. Hanim Binti Othman. She is Sharia counselor from Sharia Court Johor Bahru, Malaysia. Good morning, Ms. Sarah.
Good morning, Ms. Shafira.
Hopes all of you are at the best health. Before we continue with our forum, I would like to give a brief explanation about our topic for today. Marriage is one of the most beautiful experiences of human life. As a Muslim, we believe if we are destined to be together, we will meet the right person when the right time is come. Nowadays, marriage at an early age is a normal in our society. We have been troubled for a long time by social issues that are increasingly gaining public attention. I believe there are a lot of opinions about early marriage among youth from our dedicated panels. Without wasting our time, I would like to hear from Dr. Nurin's opinion about the idea of early marriage among youth. You agree with this, Dr. Nurin?
First of all, thank you to our moderator, Ms. Shafira, for inviting me, and welcome everyone. Hope all of you are in your best of health. So, before I give my point of view, I would like to enlighten more about the real definition of early marriage among youth. In the authentic hadith narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad SAW recommended marriage to young people or youth who already have the ability and desire to get married. The issue now is, who is that young person? Does that young person mean people aged between 18 to 25 years old? The answer is no. Mazhab Shafi'i states that youth are those who start puberty until those who reach 30 years old. Therefore, if you follow the view from Mazhab Shafi'i, the age of 30 is considered young. So back to the question, I agree over the idea of early marriage among youth. This is because some youth are mature enough to hold such responsibilities. If youth have a deep understanding in the knowledge of Fardu Ain and knowledge related to health, then it should not be a problem for them to get married early. Moreover, if youth have a stable financial, they are encouraged by Islam itself to get married. Therefore, early marriage among youth is acceptable as long as youth fulfill all the requirements needed before they enter the marriage life.
May I add something regarding your opinion, Dr. Nurin?
Sure, Miss Nabilah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nurin. I'm with you on that point. I would like to add that the rights of a woman to marry has been clearly provided under Section 8. According to the Islamic Family Law Federal Territories Act 1984, this act states that no marriage shall be solemnized if the man age is less than 18 years or the woman is less than 16 years of age unless the Sharia judge has given her written permission in certain circumstances. The purpose of this provision is not to restrict youth to get married at a young age. However, it purpose to ensure that each couple has an adequate level of maturity and is prepared to take on huge responsibilities in the family institution.
That's true, Dr. Nurin, and thank you, Ms. Nabilah, for the detailed explanation. Such an excellent opinion. Some youths are mature enough to hold the responsibility as a parents. Besides, marriage does not only bring joy to the family, also to our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He encouraged us to procreate and build strong families that are inculcated with the values of Islam. Thus, I think it's okay for youths to have an early marriage. Next, maybe we can hear from Madam Zulaika, who is the one that got married at early age. Please, Madam.
Thank you to our moderator, Ms. Shafira. Based on my experience, I got married to my husband at the age of 18. That's a very young age. As for me, marriage at a young age is for the sake of maintaining self-esteem. At the same time, it can prevent the occurrence of adultery. Besides, a person can be more independent and more responsible, especially men. When youth become a husband and wife, they must be independent because they are no longer under the care of their parents. It is true that I become more independent as I get married. Independent here means that me and my husband could be able to support and manage marriage without help from very early as we face many challenges.
With you, Madam Zulaika, I agree with you having an early marriage because there is no perfect time. When they marry early, there will be no pressure to have kids anytime in the near future. The first few years of the marriage can be spent in this without any undue pressure about bearing children since there is a long way to go before their wife body clock starts ticking. They can travel all over the world they want and live life young just the way they want.
Yes, fair enough. Thank you, Madam Zulaika and Ms. Nabilah.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Miss Shafira, but I have to disagree with what Ms. Zulaika and Miss Nabilah just said before. According to the consultant obstetric and gynecology specialist of University Kebangsaan Malaysia Hospital, Prof. Dr. Halina Haliza Siraj, most married teenage girls who are pregnant at a young age will face many complications and health problems during pregnancy, during childbirth, and even after birth. This is not only due to complications during the pregnancy and birth process, but also due to environmental factors that make it difficult for teenagers to get optimal facility and health care. In addition, many teenagers die because of this premarital relationship. Pregnancy at a young age is also a problem for them because their bodies are not fully mature.
Thank you, Dr. Aisyah. I absolutely agree with this one too. The lack of education on teenage health are also the causes of early marriage that lead to a poor life for teenage. In the current years, families have realized that young marriage are not good for children. I hope that other parties are involved with this one. You can take this issue seriously so that it's under control in order to ensure a good life for teenage life.
I'm with you, Dr. Aisyah. I had to disagree over the idea of youths having early marriage where they don't even know how the world works yet and is inexperienced enough to hold such responsibilities. In the other hand, there will be many risks and effects when youths have an early marriage. Based on my experience as a counsellor, Often the consulting unit is the last option for a young couple who are facing marriage conflict to come and get advice. Most of the young couple that attend the counseling session have actually made their own decision. Moreover, some of them attend to discuss about the problem that they face, but to get an information to smooth out their divorce process.
I agree with what Ms. Raihana just said earlier. I also had to disagree a teenager having an early marriage because they have no understanding between them, and it is always the misunderstanding that gets the best of them instead. The young couple still not matured, and it is hard for them to understand each other. This is why having two modes of communication is important for everyone so that there are no issues at the end of the day. However, people seem to take it for granted.
Thank you for your opinion, Ms. Raihana and Ms. Sarah. I agree on that point. Some of you are not mature enough to hold the responsibility as a parent. For them, marriage is just about living together and loving each other. But effectively, they have to handle the finance and maybe the family problem, not to mention the discrimination by the society. Now, can we move on to the next question? Ms. Nabilah, can you share with us what might be the factor of this early marriage among youth?
There are a lot of factors that lead to early marriage. Their children dating at a very young age, but they also encourage them. This dating stuff has led to early involvement with members of the opposite sex. As an example, there are certain cases where a girl underage got married at an early age after she was confirmed pregnant out of wedlock due having an affair with her partner. According to birth registration statistics, a total of 25,567 illegitimate children were registered with the National Registration Department NRD since 2019 in Malaysia. However, there are few youth that take a good step by getting married in order to avoid committing the sin of getting aborted. This also can ensure that the baby born has a father and a mother after the mother gives birth to.
Thank you for sharing, Ms. Nabilah. How about you, Dr. Sarah? Maybe you can elaborate more in Islamic views?
Sure, Ms. Shafira. In Islam, the majority of the scholars say that abortion is haram. According to the Fatwa Committee of Islamic Religious Affairs Malaysia, infants in the womb aged 4 months and above should not be aborted unless the abortion is intended to save the mother's life due to severe disability after receiving advice from a qualified physician.
There is no objection with that, Dr. Sarah and Ms. Nabilah. I totally with both of you. Even though in Al-Quran have stated, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَاحِشَةً وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا, and do not come near to adultery. It is shameful deeds and evil, and opening the road to other evil. Surah Al-Isra, version 32. But still, they don't take this as a serious thing. Dr. Nurin, do you have any idea about the causes of this early marriage?
Yes, Ms. Shafira. One of the factors of early marriage among youth is because they are not interested to continue their study. Due to that, they made a drastic decision to get married. Some youth think that furthering study is just a waste of time and money. But they do not realize that the responsibilities after marriage are even greater than what they had thought. Around the 50s and 60s, it is normal for youth to get married early. Perhaps at the time, the opportunities to further studies was not as wide as it is today. However, it is totally different now. As for me, this is a loss for youth who do not want to pursue their studies because studying helps them to get great job and greater opportunities for income. Furthering your studies is very, very important as you could gain various of knowledge and develop yourself towards becoming a better person. Although the opportunity to further studies now is wide, Some youth still find it unimportant and thus they decided to get married early.
That's right, Dr. Nurin. I can't deny with that. Dating school is boring and tired of studying continuously. They also believe that young women do not need to pursue higher education because they will eventually become a wife and serve their husband at home. And so, because of this, young lady who had dropped out of school then did not have much of choices. And little did they know that now we are in economic crisis problem. To find a permanent job with a good pay is very hard nowadays.
You are right, Miss Shafira. In my point of view, after getting married and having a child, a lot of them want to return to continue their study. But the acceptance or negative view of society, such as this early marriage young teenage girls has commit indecent acts, makes them feel refused to continue learning. These early marriage teenagers now have families at a young age, have to work to earn a living, but because of not get a full education, they do not qualify for most of the jobs that are around them. What about the fate of they who are excels in study and want to further their studies to a higher level but is hindered because they already have the responsibility to take care of their family? A huge loss to them for not being able to make the best use of opportunities that are not available for others.
Yes, I am also agree with all of you. Another reason why teenagers have a marriage life even before they reach 20s is because of the influence of social media. Nowadays, people of any age have a gadget in their hand and of course any type of social media account in their phone. This leads to them discovering a new disgusting and harsh adult world where they should not have known yet. How did social media influence other teenagers to get married early is the fact that they were given a freedom to freely interact with other strangers. They think that marrying at an early age might be a trend, as many people these days marry at an early age actually to avoid gossip or slander that might have been thrown at them. But the one that might have not known will think that it is normal to marry at an early age despite what their parents had said.
Exactly. Thank you for your tone, Ms. Raihana. Ms. Zulaika, what is the new thing that you face after you start your new life as a parent? Do you mind to share with us about your experience?
Yes, I feel pleasure to share my experience with you guys, especially for the teenagers out there. To be honest, early marriage made me mature enough with my own thoughts. What I mean with having a mature mind is a sense of responsibility with the partner you are married to. Moreover, be able to shape myself towards better because I already have my own family that need to be taken care of. If you are a husband, you must be mature to educate and build a harmonious family with your wife. At a young age, women often have immature and rational thinking, which means the husband needs to properly guide his wife through the marriage. This applies to both husband and wife as they marry at an early age. They both need to help each other and trust each other to build a harmonious family.
Thank you for sharing, Madam Zulaika. Yes, it is very important for the couple to have trust in each other. According to the recent national survey, argument is the common reason given by divorcing couples with 56%. Thus, who are already have a family, I begging you, please, try to control your ego and settle your problem with the right way.
I'm sorry for interrupted you, Miss Shafira. I absolutely agree with you. As a Sharia counselor, I have handled a lot of cases that leads to domestic violence. Every year, millions of women are affected by violence against women and girls around the world. Young women are frequently targeted due of their husband's immature attitude in their home, quick temper, and the couple's inability to achieve compatibility early marriage in their marriage. Child marriage is one example of this type of violence. In many circumstances, parents believe that marrying their daughter at a young age is in her best interest because they believe marriage will shield her from physical or sexual assault. This belief, however, is frequently incorrect. Women and girls who marry as children are at an increased risk of sexual, physical, and psychological violence throughout their life. Girls who marry as children are particularly at risk of violence from their partners or their partner families. They are more likely to be beaten or threatened by their husband than girls who marry later.
That's true, Miss Sarah. The greater the age difference between girls and their husband, the more likely they are experience intimate partner violence. So for me, there are variety of reasons why early marriage may be more violent than later marriage. So Miss Raihana, what are the effects of this early marriage among youth?
The other effect of early marriage among youth is that the fact that they have to bear with the risk of the postpartum depression. The postpartum depression is real because it's a depression where a mother suffers after giving birth to a child. One of the reasons is the fact that maybe the mother was too young to carry a child and became overwhelmed by the fact that a life was growing inside of her. Another reason was maybe when the mother was pregnant, she might have something that she was stressed about and cannot eat to anyone. The fact that a wife tend to rely on their husband more than anything after a marriage, making it more difficult as a husband have to work twice to take his family. They didn't have time to properly plan a true marriage life to properly support their own family.
I see what you mean with that, Ms. Raihana, but I think it's also important to consider that there are also have a positive effect of early marriage among youth. Marriage is a moral safeguard as well as a social building block that covenants between two individuals, men and women, to protect our heart from doing forbidden things such as fornication. It is better for teenagers, especially students, to marriage at the early age. Early marriage would not be a burden to one's life, but they can get the positive impact and always get blessing from Allah. The best example is our Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet married his wife, Siti Khadijah, at the age of 25 years. The Prophet Muhammad said that do not delay in three things. The first one is the offering of the obligatory prayer. The second one is offering of the funeral prayer when the deceased body is present. And the third one is the marriage of a woman when her couple is found. One can see from this statement that it orders us to marry when the party is found and not delaying it for too long time. It can avoid us from fornication and homosexuality.
I'm glad you said that, Ms. Nabilah. Early marriage gives more time for couple to pursue their career comfortably and plan a child soon after. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, "And married the unmarried among you, and the righteous among your male slave and female slave. If they should be poor, Allah will enrich them from His bounty. And Allah is all-encompassing and knowing." From the above verse, Allah advised us to get married as soon as possible. Meanwhile, if they are poor but want to get married, Allah will suffice by providing sustenance. It is a guarantee from God. Importantly, we must have effort, good willing. Allah will help and assist His servants who are in trouble.
So this actively illustrates that early marriage among youth have both advantage and disadvantage, right, Dr. Nurin?
Absolutely, Ms. Shafira. Early marriage among youth has its pros and cons. I understand your point, Ms. Raihana, about the risk of getting postpartum depression. That could only apply in some situations where pregnancy without a legal husband and children born without a father will encounter serious psychological issues. But what about when a young couple gets married according to the Sharia? If they have children, the children will have a clear and respected lineage compared to children who was born out of wedlock and the man who is the cause of the mother's pregnancy, cannot be traced. This proved that early marriage among youths can protect youth's dignity from doing accursed things that are forbidden in Sharia. A person's dignity lies on his or her faith. Relationships between men and women who are not blood related have certain limits that need to be maintained. Therefore, through marriage, the dignity of the family and the sanctity of Islam can be well preserved. As we know, a good offspring produces good seeds. If the dignity of the family is preserved, then the descendants of the family are considered noble and respected by society.
Right, Dr. Nurin, although some babies are born without a father by their side due to divorce or maybe the father died before they were born, their birth remains in a respected position. Moreover, their honor and positions are still well preserved and they are more fortunate than the fates of children out of wedlock. This is where we can see why Islam places the protection of descent as one of the main objectives in Sharia.
Thank you so much for the various opinions that have been stated by the panels. This shows that early marriage among youth have its own advantage and disadvantage in certain situation. We respect our dedicated panel's opinion. Alright, previously, Madam Zulaika mentioned that getting married at an early age definitely not easy as you think. Do you mind to share with us your challenges marriage with Madam Zulaika?
Yes, of course, Miss Shafira. I did mention that getting married at an early age has a lot of challenges. When I get married to my husband at an early age, I have to sacrifice my 20s life and freedom. In the early of my marriage, me and my husband faced difficulties to divide our time between friends and career. However, slowly we managed to overcome the problem by divide our time. We reduced outdoor activities after marriage and increased activities together with the family, especially with the wife and children. Surely my relationship with my family is getting closer. The understanding between a husband and wife is very important before they start questioning their respective responsibilities that cannot be fulfilled.
Thank you, Madam Zulaika. Yes, it is not impossible to have a long marriage as long as you can understand each other and sort out their dissatisfaction well. Maybe we can hear opinion from Miss Raihana regarding what we have been discussed just now. Please, Miss Raihana.
Again, I apologize to all of you. I really didn't see it that way because there are still disadvantages that they have to face, which is one of the fact that they cannot even find a job on their own yet. Other than that, they will be too busy to even continue their study and might even drop out of school even before finishing it. That's why I think that's it better for the teenagers to just focus on their duty as a student, which is to study and get a stable job properly in the future to support their own family.
I think so too, Ms. Raihana. The growing number of household issues such as financial problems and no longer have toleration in the relationship can contribute to the divorce phenomenon among youth. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the number of divorce has risen from 50,862 in 2018 to 56,875 in 2019. Divorce is something that is not encouraged by Islam, even though it is permissible. The Prophet Muhammad SAW said, "The thing that Allah Almighty hates the most is divorce." This is because it is contrary to the concept of marriage, which requires cooperation and love between a husband and wife.
Thank you, Dr. Nurin. Such a great sharing from our dedicated panelists regarding the effect of early marriage among youth. Before we end the forum, let's hear about the conclusion from our panelists about the topic that we have been discussed together. Please, Dr. Aisyah.
To summarize everything that I have said before, getting married at a young age is a huge challenge for those who are decide to get married at a young age have taken a huge risk and dare to leave the pressure of the world of teenage to carry a heavy responsibility. Therefore, with the provisions of Islamic family law, it is hoped that women can think wisely and be able to determine the best option in the process of choosing a life partner so that their rights after marriage are protected and granted.
Thank you, Dr. Aisyah. Maybe we can hear from Dr. Nurin.
So briefly to conclude what I had stated just now, there are many pros and cons of getting married at an early age. I believe that youths get married early because their parents do not want to see them involved doing accursed things that are forbidden. When youths decided to get married early, they had to accept and fulfill their responsibilities as a husband and wife. Youths have to think twice before they make decision to get married early. Therefore, youths need to be mature and understand the real purpose of marriage before they enter the marriage phase. That's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Nurin. How about you, Ms. Raihana?
To conclude all of the things that I had stated before, teenagers should have a more normal life, like maybe hanging out with their friends and spending more time with their family. If they had gotten married at an early age, the risk that might get too stressed and the risk of having a depression will be high. Many teenagers often think that building and taking care of families are easy, but in fact, building and taking care of family are the hardest thing too. Even an adult sometimes are having a difficult time trying to protect their family and building it. What's more, a teenager who didn't even finish studying yet.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Raihana. Next, let's hear from Madam Zulaika.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Shafira. To conclude about all my opinion, getting married at a young age not only has the disadvantages, but it also has advantages. The maturity of an individual does not only in themselves, but the maturity can be created through the experience as well as the challenges they face. Marry on the basis of responsibility to Allah SWT and responsibility to fellow human beings. God willing, the happiness will arise if you get married because of Allah SWT.
Thank you, Madam Zulaika. How about you, Miss Nabilah?
What can I conclude all my statement above? Islam gives freedom to Muslims who reach puberty regardless of age, and at the same time, the saint or the guardian also has absolute power in determining the marriage of his daughter. However, we must be aware that not all saints are mature and wise in making decisions. As for Muslim couples, they need to understand that marriage bonds should not be temporary or merely legalized sexual relations alone. In Islam, a marriage that is built must last forever unless there is an unavoidable reason. On the other hand, we have to know that destiny is all in God's hands.
Thank you, Miss Nabilah. Okay, last but not least, let's hear from Miss Sarah.
That everything that I have stated before, marriage takes on a variety of local customs and cultural forms in Muslim communities around the world, and Islam tolerates this diversity as long as the rituals are not harmful. Islamic relief is helping to achieve gender equality by putting a stop to early and forced marriage. The goal of marriage is to form a strong relationship that encourages love, peace, and mercy. In Islam, persons going into marriage must not only have achieved puberty, but also have the comprehensive maturity to know their rights and responsibilities in marriage and be able to carry them out.
Thank you for all of your opinion. I approve all of it. To sum up everything that has been stated before, I can say that early marriage has its own goods and bad things to face. Actually, there are many questions and answers that I want to share with the audience, but time is running out. So before I end the forum, what I can conclude from what we have been listening from our panels is that it's okay to have an early marriage. It doesn't cause any sins. It's just that people nowadays cannot really accept it. Instead, some of them tend to give young adults who are married a tough life, and sometimes it might be a difficult task to the young adults, such as marriage is not a plaything. In a nutshell, I hope with this forum it can change the way you see about early marriage. I think that's all from us. Thank you for lending your ears, and Assalamualaikum.